Welcome back, True Seeker. It is a Sunday, February 19th, 2023, and one of the big headlines, the body of Nicola, Bulley, in the UK. Police believe they found her body. It's a body that resembles hers, found at the same spot in the river where she disappeared. And again, what we're going to talk about are the ties to the royal family and the Pope, just as we did in the last stream on this topic, and how this looks like it's also a tribute to the death of Princess Diana in 97, which was synced with the royal family and Charles, as we've talked about so many times. But Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. It's amazing how day after day you can see through pretty much everything in the news, which is pretty much nonstop propaganda. And the reason that people can't see through it is because they've been raised in slave school, whether they're in the UK or the US, to believe in the authorities, whether that's the news, the police, the government. But these are the same people exploiting their power they have over the populace, which has been programmed into us through slave school. But again, you learn this little Kabbalistic code of putting numbers into words, and you just see through the headlines each day. Here we are on the 50th day of the year. And the body of Nicola Bulley has been found. And what does her name equal in Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words? Her name equals 50. Now, there are 4 key ciphers to decoding a name, and we're going to go over how all 4 values of her name fit in with the ritual of her body being recovered today. So if you're new here, let's go over the 4 ciphers. Using the alphabetic order, Nicola Bulley equals 131. Today is her 131st day of her age. Her birthday is October 12th. If you counted from October 12th through today you could say is 130 days after her birthday or her 130th day of her age. Again, it's the 50th day of the year. When you take the alphabetic order with numerology, her name equals 50. So again, the first cipher, just the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. The second cipher is the same thing, but incorporating numerology, so each letter is compressed to a single-digit number. Thus, the 26th letter becomes 8 because 2 plus 6 is 8. The 25th letter becomes 7 because 2 plus 5 is 7, so on. The next cipher is running the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26. Her name equals 193 in that cipher. That's the 44th prime number. The number 44 is connected to killing. Today's date numerology is 44. And then 67 is a very fateful number connected to water and ritual sacrifice. And as we'll get to where her body was found, the road that it's next to equals 67. Very familiar pattern. Notice how if you write out human sacrifice, it equals 130 and 67. Today's 130 days after her birthday or her 131st day of her age. Blood sacrifice also has the 67. So does satanic. So does killer. A number we talk about a lot around ritualistic death. But those are the 4 base ciphers of her name. And notice how they all factor in perfectly with today. So her birthday, October 12th, 77. Today would have been her 131st day of being 45 years old. We'll come back to her age and how somebody disappeared 45 years earlier at the same spot. But today's date numerology is 64, 44, 28. We call this the kill date. It comes up once a month where the date numerology is identical. Only happens once a month. 64, 44, 28. And again, next month it'll be March 18th. The month after it'll be April 17th, May 16th, June 15th. It's different each year, but that's just the way the numbers fall this year. But there's 1 month each day where you get this kill date numerology. A big story in the U.S. today, just to show you, is a shooting, which has the Gematria 44 at the Live Lounge, which equals 50, as they continue to whittle away at the Second Amendment for gun control. But again, it's a 50 story here in the U.S. The Memphis shooting at Live Lounge in the U.K., which that story is also coming over here, it's a 50 story. And you might have noticed how it was in both ciphers, where Nicola, Bulley, and Live Lounge are 50. Again, out of these 4 ciphers, if you can only take one, that's the one you'd take, because so much, a very high percentage of the news lines up in that cipher every single day. But at the same time, you want to know all 4 ciphers because, again and again, all of the ciphers are relevant to the ritual. Now, as we talked about, this was perfectly synced with King Charles, and if you missed my last live stream, which was shadow banned, which almost no one saw, we'll go back and revisit that. But notice how King Charles has the Gematria 64, going with the body being found today. Also, from her birthday to the day that she disappeared was 107 days later, which also goes with King Charles. And she disappeared on the 27th. She was found on the 50th, which is 23 days later, in the year 23, where King is 23. And remember, she disappeared 74 days after Charles' 74th birthday and has been found 97 days later. Forwards, Roman Catholicism 74, and reverse it's 97. Death is 97. Diana died in 97 in Paris, France, the land of the Jesuits, and here we are in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. Keep in mind February 19th, the date can be written 219, like the number 219. Notice how Princess Diana and Roman Catholic both equal 219. Just another fun one. The first Supreme Court justice that was Roman Catholic in U.S. history was Antonin Scalia, 132, 219 in the same way, and his body laid in repose at the Supreme Court on 219 after he died suspiciously on the 44th day of the year in a ranch. A whole lot more to say about that, but just again to emphasize the significance of the number and rituals on this day in history that go back to Roman Catholic. Remember, England also equals 132, and when Diana died, she died 132 days after Queen Elizabeth's birthday. The Queen born April 21st. Diana died August 31st, 132 days later. Special number 132. Even United States of America equals 132. The White House has 132 rooms in it. From the day the Illuminati was founded, May 1st, 1776, to the day the U.S. was named the United States, was a span of 132 days. Special number. And again, the Roman Catholic Church has ran the UK for longer than the U.S. has existed, and it's why all the Roman architecture is in D.C., because they've also ran this nation from the beginning. That's why Washington, D.C. is on the land that was once called Rome on the Potomac. But anyhow, they're saying they found Bulley's body at Rawcliffe Road. That's where it was in the river. Notice the 12167 Gematria like blood sacrifice. Again, Nicola Bulley 67. Again, the word water 67. And they said they were called at 36 minutes after the hour. Now, remember what year Diana died? Or what age she was when she died. She was 36 years old. 36 years old. And again, coming back, we talked about how she disappeared on the 27th on the 45-year anniversary of a younger man disappearing at the same spot on the river, and she's 45 years old. And notice how in Gematria, ritual is 27 forwards, 45 in reverse. Like Nicola is 27, like missing's 45. We'll get to them having this missing sign on a bridge. Of course, bridge equals 45. The operation for when Queen Elizabeth died was Operation London Bridge. Of course, Liz Truss became the Prime Minister the day before the Queen's death on September 7th, 97. A truss is often part of the architecture of a bridge. But Liz Truss was Prime Minister for 45 days, another ritual. And don't forget, this all goes back to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. What's above the Prime Minister's door at 10 Downing Street? The top half of the Jesuit Order logo, which is on my sweatshirt. Again, I only have so many clothes, but somebody sent this to me long ago to emphasize who was behind the killing of Chris Cornell. That's whose face is in the middle of the Jesuit logo here. But that is also the same sun pattern that's stained in the glass above the door at 10 Downing Street, the Jesuits. IHS, by the way, the letters in their symbol also equal 45. But missing on a bridge where bridge is 45, and again, this all goes back to the royal family. But notice how the call came at 11:36, right? 11:36. Somebody out there is going, well, numerology, that is 119. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, London Bridge is also 119, 11:9. Because in numerology, 11 does not need to be reduced, where 36 does. It needs to be compressed to a 9. So you can look at 11:36 in numerology terms as 11:9. London Bridge, Bridge 45. London Bridge for Queen Elizabeth. Bridge is also 36, for the record. Diana's age of death in a tunnel. But anyhow, the person who disappeared disappeared 45 years earlier was Roger. Now it's Nicola. And notice how both of their names have the 36 like river. The call comes 36 minutes after the 11th hour of the day. And just in terms of the 4 base ciphers, notice how the man who disappeared 45 years ago, Roger Jones, how his name overlaps with river. 36, 63, 72. And then again, Charles, from his 74th birthday to her disappearance was 74 days later. St. Michael's on Wire, the name of the town, 74. Like killing, like Gematria, like English, like London, like Masonic, like occult. And again, don't forget on his 74th birthday, November 14th, in the U.S., the 2 big stories were the killings at the University of Virginia Cavaliers campus, where Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles. And then the other story was the killings at Moscow, Idaho, where Moscow is Gematria's 74 on King Road. And again, Charles is the first English monarch of Russian ancestry. And then the whole time of the Russia-Ukraine thing as well, which is also another Jesuit Catholic Church ritual. But that does mean 45 years earlier, Charles was 29 when the young boy disappeared. Masonic and London both have the 74 and 29. Nicola Bulley, 67, like King. Also like how where she's found the spot on the road has the Gematria 67. Again, it is the year 23, King 23. She disappeared 41 days after the Pope's birthday. In the most simple cipher, King is 41. So 41 days after the Pope's birthday in 23, the body recovered 23 days later. Her name 67, water 67, the location where she's found 67. Is there a 22 connection here? I'm overlooking that if there is. You could say this all does go back to him becoming the king in 22. And keep in mind, he did become the king in 22, right? And he was still 73 when the queen died. Queen's also 73. Notice how Queen's 62, like how she became queen on the 6th day of the 2nd month. Her coronation was on June 2nd, written 6-2 in the U.S. When Diana died 62 days after her birthday, and the rumor was that she was highly disgusted with Diana, the queen was, because of the divorce in 96, only for the queen to go on and die at age 96. Let me see. For the record, Wire has the Gematria 71 like royal. When Diana died, the queen was 71 years old. Diana's birthday was July 1st. Date that can be written 7-1. And the day she disappeared can be written 27/1 as they write it in the UK, kind of like 271, which is the 58th prime number. Disappearance 58, like Freemasonry, like secret society. Just the video I did last night was on the U.S. leaving the Bretton Woods standard in the big 271-58 ritual on the Jesuit order's birthday, perfectly synced with the Pope and Superior General. Just to remind you, pretty much most big events that happen in this world that go down in his story, think about who his is. It's the Pope. Again, we're on their calendar, on a calendar named after the Pope, speaking their language, English. Again, all of this stuff is credited back to the Catholic Church if you follow the timeline and the history. And they're the ones making history. And again, just a huge pattern. St. Michael's on Wire also has the Gematria 223. It seems like nearly every news story this year is coming back to that number. The Kelly Pickler woman who died, or her husband who supposedly committed suicide, her name's 223. I didn't put out a video on that. There was a certain gentleman who actually, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but there's a gentleman who actually picked up the body of the husband who follows my work, and before it was even in the news, he emailed me and said, hey, this is going to be a big story today if you want to cover it before it breaks. And the reason I didn't do that is because I thought somebody might see the video, and then somebody would be like, well, only so many people picked up the body in the world, and then maybe one less person would have a job in the world. So anyway, we skipped doing that, but it's good to know that the word is getting out there, and people are hearing about the information, and maybe the views for these videos are bigger than I think at this point. Because if you're new here, back in 2016, I used to be able to get several 100,000 views per video, 1 million views occasionally. These days, I'm lucky if I get 5,000 thanks to the several channel deletions and suppressions and algorithm tampering and everything else they do. But it was a lot more encouraging being a content creator. It feels like you're actually doing something a lot bigger when your video has upwards of 1 million views, as opposed to looking at it, it's like, oh man, only 2,000 views. Wish more people saw this. But yeah, there she is on the bridge, and who can forget Liz Truss? Again, Truss is part of the architecture of a bridge often. 45 days, and again, taking office right before the Queen's death on the Virgin Mary's birthday, and Operation London Bridge. It's just, it's one ritual after the next. So, and by the way, I do have an older, I also have a free book out there that you can download. Well, you can buy the book as well, but I made it free to download, Letters and Numbers. Princess Diana's death is covered in that book. But yeah, just look at the old post. This post is from 2016 right here. I've covered it multiple times. I'm sure there's posts even before that. But again, 132 days after the Queen's birthday, England, United States of America, Princess Diana. Queen was 71 from Diana's birthday to the death, 62 days. Whole Queen's history defined by 62. And for all you guys who wonder why Charles is having his coronation on May 6th, royal family's 56, right? You can write the date 5-6. United Kingdom 65. Don't forget the last king of England, who was the Queen Elizabeth's father. He died at 56. And just on the most perfect day, right? February 6th, so that the Queen could take over on that day. Only for her to die while her son is 73. See how it works? Forwards and backwards. 6-2 date. One ritual after the next. But, I got to take care of my sweet lady over here, my little queen. Now that we live in the small town, we got to make a trip to the big town every 2 weeks to stock up the fridge. It's about when we run out of groceries. So we got to make our trip into town to get ourselves some groceries today because the cupboard is pretty bare over here. It's like that old Mother Hubbard nursery rhyme. But, yeah, we will leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who supports the work and hits like and share. Thank you to everyone who donates. Thank you to everyone who supports the Patreon. And until next time, Truth Seeker.